Good afternoon, everyone. It's Mr. Montgomery. Yesterday, we were talking about adding tens together, right? And that was a little crazy, but we got through it. So let's review that really quick. So, well, we all know one easy one, which is a doubles fact we all learned a while ago, was 10 plus 10. Now, personally, I like adding tens this way because look, right here, over top of each other, you have the ones, and this lets you add the ones together, but there's no ones to add, so we just bring that zero down. And we have the tens. And you guys can even look at it as two different columns, right? We have our ones column and our tens column. So how many tens do we have? We have one and then one again. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we get 20. If we were to do a little bit tougher one, we could say 20 plus 30. And I'm going to make my column line in a different color so it stands out. So I make my columns. So 0 and 0 is 0. And 2 plus 3 is 5. Because right here we're just adding the numbers that are in the tens house because we don't have any ones. So we just have to add the 3 and the 2. Or the 1 and the 1. Or we could even look at it this way by writing two tens, the word tens instead, just to make it a little bit different, maybe easier for some of us. Two tens plus two tens equals, well, what's 2 plus 2? Well, we know that 2 plus 2 is 4, so it'd be 4 tens. And what big number does 4 tens make? Well, 4 tens can make 40. So there's a few different ways we can go about it and we can think about it. And we can even use 10 frames to help, or not 10 frames, 100 charts to help us. Today we're going to do the same thing, but there's going to be one little change. For all these really, the big change is that one of these 2-digit numbers that we're adding is going to have another number in the ones place. So instead of just having 20 plus 20, we might have 25 plus 20. But that's okay, because we still follow the same rules. And we're going to have a 100 chart to help us. I'm going to show you how it's not scary at all. Okay? So let's start over and go with what they have set up for us for number 1. For number 1, it says blank plus 10. Let's start off with a smaller number, so that way we can kind of ease right into everything. So our small number is going to be, let's make it 15. 15 plus 10. Well, there's two ways. Well, I'll show you the way I really like to do this, which is making my two columns. Because when I look at addition problems and subtraction problems from left to right, sometimes it can look a little scary. But I like to take the same problem and rate them going top to bottom. So I would write 15 plus 10, and then what I always do, so I don't get confused, I get my big dividing line so I know where my ones are and my tens are. So my 0 and 5 should be in the ones column. See how they're right on top of each other? The 5 and the 0? Because they are both in the ones house. So then we can say, what is 5 plus 0? We can say it's 5. And then we can say, what is 1 plus 1? It's 2. And then that gives us the number 25. But there's another way we can do this. And you're going to have a hunter chart to help you with this other way. You can use whichever way is easier for you. I'm going to show you 2 ways the whole time. So I don't want you to get scared. Don't get nervous. It's okay. So the other thing we can do using our 100 chart is, let's see, I have a 100 chart all set up for us. Here is our 100 chart. And we had 15 plus 10. Right? So let me rewrite it. Okay, so we have 15 plus 10. We're just going to look at this big number that has a number in the ones house because it's different. We're not used to that. So this is going to be our main number we're going to focus on. Then we're going to look at this other number, this 10 we're adding. And we're going to say, how many 10s does it have in its tens house? So we have 15, and then we have 1 10, right? So what we can do is we can find 15 on our 100 chart, and it's right here. See that 15? And then since we just have 1 10, that means we just jump down 1 row because it gets bigger since we're adding. And then we're going to practice doing this with some different numbers so we can get very comfortable with doing this. Because soon we're going to be adding numbers that both have 1s in the ones house and 10s. So we need to make sure that we're ready for that. So let's go back. So we know that after doing all this, and we know that if we had 15 plus 10, we only have 1 10 in the tens house, so we jump down 1 row, and that gave us 25. Both ways give you the same answer. All right? So don't worry. Next, let's write down that answer for number 1. Now we know that 15 plus 10 is 25. We have a little bit bigger number, or a bigger set of 10, to add to a different number. But we're still easing into this and we're still learning. So we're going to keep this number 15. I like the number 15. So we're going to keep him. And our new number sentence is going to be 15 plus 20. Well, I'm going to rewrite that up here. 15 plus 20. But I don't know what it equals. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we know our starting number is the one that has the number in the ones house. It's the number 15 because it has a number in the tens and a number in the ones. It can be tough to work with. So that's going to be our focus number. That's the one we're really going to concentrate on. And then the number that doesn't have a number in the ones house, well, guess what? We just have to focus on how many jumps it's going to make us go down the rows. Because we're adding, so we want to get closer to 100 on that 100 chart. And we just focus on this tens house number. So what's in our tens house? That's just the number 2. So we have 2 10s, which means how many jumps can we make on our 100 chart? Let's work through it. So we start with the number 15, and we have in our 100 chart, we could go over to number 5, go down, and we find it. but we're adding it to the number 20. And the number 20 has two sets of 10s, which means we're going to make two hops. 1, 2. And that brings us to the number 35. So now we know that 15 plus 20 is 35. But like I said before, there's another way we can do this, right? We can take these two numbers and write them top to bottom. We can say 15 plus 20. And since we're adding, it doesn't matter which one goes on top and which one goes on the bottom. And if we're going to use this method, we're going to draw a line down the middle to separate our 10s and 1s. Now we can see what's in the 1's house and what's in the 10's house. If we look at the 1's house, we could say, you know what, this is just 5 plus 0. I know 5 plus 0, that's super easy. 5 plus 0 is just 5. And if I look at the 10's house, it's just 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is pretty easy also. And that just gives me 3. Which means our answer is 35. See, this isn't that scary. It's okay. Let's erase all this and get to our next one. Okay. So our next one, I want to change it just a little bit. Instead of 15, because since we used that twice already, you can kind of see that's just increasing by 10 each time. It's 25, now it's at 35. I think you already know it's going to be 45. So let's pick a slightly different number. Let's pick the number. Let's pick the number 17. It's a little different. Okay. So if we were to write that number sentence up here, 17 plus 30, which number is going to be our number we're going to really focus on? That we're going to make this number go through the jumps down the rows. Are we going to make 17 do the jumps or 30? We're going to make 17 do the jumps because it has a number in the 10s and the 1s. 30 doesn't. So 30 is going to tell us how many jumps. Okay, so we have 17 and 30 has 3 10s, right? 3 10s make the number 30. So now we can go to our 100 chart and we find the number 17. Now, we know that the number 30 has 3 10s, which means 3 jumps, because every row is a whole set of 10. And that's why we make a jump each time, because it goes on by 10s as we look down. See the pattern? 7, 17, 27, 37, 47, 57, and it keeps going on and on and on. We could do this all the way up to 1,000 if we wanted to, but we won't. So we know we have to make 3 jumps because there's 3 10s. So 1, 2, 3, and we stop. And what number do we land on? 47. So now we can go back to our paper, and we know that 17 plus 30 will give us 47. And I can write 47 down here, since we know it. Or if you really want to use the other method that I was showing you, we could write 17 plus 30 equals, And we could just make our little divider line. So we have our 1s here and our 10s here. 7 plus 0 is 7. And 1 plus 3 is 4. We still get 47. Either way. Just that 1 gives you that, the chart gives you something to really put your finger on, to count along. And sometimes that can help us out and make things a little bit easier. Some of us don't need it, and that's okay. If you do need it, that's fine. If you don't, that works too. It's whatever is best for you. Don't feel like you have to use just one way. There's a bunch of ways we can always do math. Okay. Let's use a different number. Let's use 21. 21 plus 40. Now we're getting a little crazy. I know. It's a little crazy, but it's okay. So 21 plus 40. We can rewrite that up here. 21 plus 40. Now, what number are we going to focus on and have that number jump? We're going to make the number 21 jump because it has a number in the 10s and the 1s. And 40 is going to tell us how many jumps. All right, let's get our 100 chart. So we have 21. And now, let's look back. It's going to have 4 jumps, right? So let's count these jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. We landed on 61. And now we know our answer. 21 plus 40 is 61. Or we could use the other method we were talking about. We could say 21 plus 40. And we have our little dividing line there to separate things. 1 and 0 is 1. 2 and 4. Well, that's easy. That's 6. And we still get 61. Either way, we get the same answer. All right. I hope you got that all written down. Going to go on to the next one. Okay, so this last one we're going to do, it's going to be number 5. Then we're going to go to the inside after this. Okay? So, for this one, it's going to be, let's get a little bit crazier. Let's make it 42 plus 20. And I can write it up here and say, 20 plus 42 equals, well, what number are we going to make do all the jumps? The number we're going to make do all the jumps is going to be the one that has the number in the 10s and the 1s place, which is 42. And for 20, it's going to tell us how many jumps. That's it. So let's go to our 100 chart and find 42. And let's make it jump. $42. Found it. Found it. And we have to make a jump. How many times? Just 2. So 42 is going to make 2 jumps. Ooh. 1, 2. We stop. We land on 62. Okay, so now we know that 42 plus 20 is 62. And the other way we can use is, of course, put top to bottom, 20 plus 42. And I put my little separating line here. 0 and 2 is 2. 2 and 4 is 6. We still get 62 either way, guys. Now let's open up our packets to the inside. Alright guys, give you a quick couple seconds to get to the inside page. And as I'm looking at it, this actually looks a lot easier than the stuff we were doing on the front. So I think you guys will be able to get through this with flying colors. Alright, so let's get started. Let's look at the first one, see what they're doing, so we know exactly what we're doing. It says use the 100 chart to add tens. So we're going to take this ones number right here, the 2, find it on the chart, just right here, and how many jumps are we going to make it go? Just 1. So go down 1 jump, we get to 12. That seems easy enough. Now we can trace the 12. Try number 2 on your own real quick, guys, okay? I'll give you a couple seconds to get through number 2. Then we'll do number 3 together after that. Alright. I think you guys probably got through this already. So let's go ahead and look at it. 4. I found it. And how many jumps is it going to make? 2. So it's going to go 1, 2, and we stop right there. So 4 plus 20 is 24. So I'm hoping everyone also got 24. Okay. 3 is a little bit trickier, and this is something similar to what we did on the front. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to do number 3 all on your own. Alright, I think that might have been enough time. If you need some more time, just hit the spacebar on your keyboard. It'll pause the video. If you guys are all good to go, let's go over it. So we have 37 plus 10. So which number are we going to look for on our 100 chart? The 37 or the 10? Well, on our 100 chart, we're going to look for the 37 because it has a number in the 1s and the 10s. It has both. And then the 10 is going to tell us how many jumps. Okay? So let's go ahead and find this number 37. And found it right here. And how many jumps do we make? Just 1. We jump 1. Stop there. And it tells us that 10 plus 37 is 47. Or, of course, we could do it the other way that I was showing you, because I always want to give you guys more than one way to do everything. If we were to write it top and bottom, we have 37 plus 10. And I have my little separation line in the middle. I have my 1s here, my 10s here. 0 plus 7 is 7. 3 plus 1 is 4. 47. Either way, whichever is quicker for you guys and that you're more comfortable with. That's all that matters. Whatever you're more comfortable with works. Now, I would love for you guys to go on and do number 4, 5, and the rest of the packet on your own. If you're still really confused, come sit with me and the other friends on the carpet. If you understand what we're doing and you feel very comfortable, go head back to your seat and do the rest on your own, okay? And I'll talk to you guys later.